When it comes to the CFL, there's nothing like the home cooking at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. The Stampeders have yet to lose there this year, and fall is here for a battle of winning streaks. Stamps, Winnipeg coming up on doubleheader Saturday.
First in it, first quarter, first down. Let's go. The game of life.
This Calgary Stampeder team is easily right now the class of the Canadian Football League. And it's 7th heaven for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Every shot, every yard, every flag, every foul, even if it ain't called. Don't joke, your back's against the rope. Stand around, you can make it out. Put on the show.
The Bombers made Matt Nichols their starting QB after their last game against Calgary, and they have not lost since. 7 straight wins. Meanwhile, Bo Levi Mitchell continues to have a career for the ages, leading the Stamps to 9 straight wins, a record of 10-1-1, and first place in the entire Canadian Football League. That's where we stand. What a matchup we have. Winning streaks coming up, part 1 of a doubleheader here on CFL on TSN for Saturday and Week 14. Welcome, Rod Smith, along with the panel of. We got a full panel here today. John Climby, Matt Dunnigan back from Ottawa, and Milt Stiegel as well. Let's go back to Week 5 again. We've talked about it before. Winnipeg lost again. That's twice this year to Calgary. Since then, though, they switched QBs, and they've gone on a 7-game winning streak. Remarkable, Matty. Now, I asked the other guys about this last night. I mean, this is a big test for them against Calgary. What do they have to show today to deserve the respect that they feel they should get?
What was it? A heated debate?
Oh, yes, it was. Yeah, just find out.
I can imagine. Yeah.
You know, Milt, if they don't win, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, I can
That's
see
it. Same old thing, over and over.
Milt, I'm right there with you. You know, this team, Winnipeg, is just getting used to being an elite club and going on a streak like this. Calgary's been there. They've done that. They know what it's like to be targeted. Respect is earned, you know, whether you're a player or a football team, and they're earning their respect putting this streak together, but it's got to continue.
Are they,
and the only way to continue to get respect is to win. It's not play well or be close. There's no there are no moral victories.
None.
Well,
None
I think that they have to beat a team that's got a winning record, which they haven't done yet. So that's the first thing they have to do. But I don't think you have to beat the Calgary Stampeders, because the Calgary Stampeders are just killing everybody
But that's
right
what they're
now.
playing today, Jock.
Yeah, I understand that, Milt. I don't want to go there again with you. I'm just saying. Bombers 5-1 on the road, so that's very impressive. But they have to beat
You know what,
a
though,
winning
Jock?
record
I've
team.
lowered my standards a little bit. They don't have to win. If they tie, I'm okay with that. If they tie, I'm okay with that.
If they
a
get
tie
within a
or a
touchdown,
win.
if they get within a touchdown,
If they don't win today, people say, "Yeah, see, I told you so." They're not as good. They're not in that category.
And it's the Stampeders, so I don't believe that they have to win.
Big test coming up. Tell you what, a win or a tie, and they move ahead of BC for a lone in second place in the West. So lots at stake. Ron Mayo and company getting set for it. Kickoff coming up from McMahon Stadium.
And Rod, it's a spectacular fall day here in Alberta, and history made today. For the first time in the Canadian Football League, 2 teams riding winning streaks of 7 games or longer face each other. The Bombers, winners of 7 straight. Calgary's won 9 in a row in this Western Division battle.
Well, and I know the guys in the studio, we heard that talk earlier. They don't care about hearing how well these 2 quarterbacks have played. They just want to know how many they've won. Bo Levi Mitchell, obviously terrific win-loss record as a starting quarterback throughout his CFL career. Matt Nichols, pretty good career record, but everybody's talking about the fact that the Bombers have not lost since he became their starting quarterback.
Michael O'Shea's Winnipeg Blue Bombers are 5-1 on the road this season. The McMahon Stadium's been a graveyard for them. The Stamps are 6-0 at home so far this year. And Calgary has won 5 straight against Winnipeg, 15 of the last 16 meetings between these two. Justin Medlock will kick it off. The Bombers won the toss and deferred their choice in the second half. Calgary 2-0 against Winnipeg this year, but as you mentioned, a quarterbacking change since then and a much different Winnipeg football team. Medlock sends it deep. And here is Roy Finch from the goal line. And Finch beats the first wave, still going out across the 30-yard line. Moves back inside, Finch still going, finally cut down at the 46-yard line. That's the length of the return, and that's where Bo Levi Mitchell and the Calgary offense will start with great field position.
Well, Roy Finch has really started to find his groove and establish himself among the Canadian Football League's top returners in recent weeks. You mentioned the Winnipeg Blue Bombers won the toss and deferred. Calgary elected to take the ball, no interest in worrying about who's got the win when. They want their offense on the field. They wanted Finch to start the game just like he did.
Messam, a lone man in the backfield. Play fake to Messam. Mitchell looks over the top and has a man right away. The catch is made by Kamar Jordan. And Jordan's got a first down to the 35-yard line. And the gain is 29 yards.
Well, Kamar Jordan into the lineup with the injury to Bakari Grant. Making his presence felt early on. Terrific protection from that Calgary offensive line. That'll be one of their keys to continued success. Play action fake holds that defense. Jordan finding a soft spot in coverage.
Bakari Grant shaken up last week in Calgary's win over Ottawa. Here comes the blitz, and Mitchell gets the ball away, has to throw it away, as very quickly bearing down on him was Khalil Bass.
Yeah, caught off guard a little bit that time. You look at the Calgary backfield, of course, Jerome Messam joining Bo Levi Mitchell back there. Messam over 130 yards rushing. These teams met earlier in the season. I mentioned Kamar Jordan into the lineup in place of an injured Bakari Grant. Along that offensive line, starting to get healthy. Shane Bergman back in at his usual left guard spot.
On second and long, Mitchell has time and throws. Pass complete to Marquay McDaniel, a first down and more, down to the 11-yard line. And McDaniel's got a gain of 20 and a Calgary first down.
Marquay McDaniel lines up in the slot. Goes to work here. We saw a throwaway by Bo Levi Mitchell earlier, catching that Calgary offense was caught a little bit off guard by the Winnipeg blitz. But settling in here when Mitchell's got time.
Down to the 16-yard line. And Calgary in the red zone. The Stamps were 4 for 4 against Ottawa last week. Mitchell fires again, caught by Messam, and Messam fights his way inside the 10-yard line and down to the 9 for a gain of 7.
Well, defensively for Winnipeg, the pressure from this front is going to be key. Jamal Westerman leads the way with 5 sacks. Shayon Green will be at the other end. Justin Cole out of the lineup. Tony Burnett continues to start in place of an injured Ian Wild. Mo Leggett leads the CFL in sacks. There you see that starting secondary unit. We also expect to see a little of newcomer TJ Heath, second in the CFL with 5 picks.
On 2nd and 3, play fake to Messam. Mitchell fires around to McDaniel. Marker McDaniel fighting for the first down marker to mark him out just outside the 5-yard line. That should be enough for a Calgary first down.
Well, you called it the success that Jerome Messam has had along the ground against Winnipeg this season. He's going to give the Stamps some great opportunities off play action, as Winnipeg has got to honor those run fakes. Good job reacting by the Winnipeg secondary to come up on McDaniel and make a play.
Calgary has scored an offensive touchdown in 35 consecutive games, the longest streak in the league. Now set up 1st and goal from the 5. Mitchell to the goal line, incomplete, as the ball went through the hands of Torrey Harrison.
This is a couple of times that we've seen Calgary get their running back out into the slot. You see Torrey Harrison out on that left side of your screen. They seem to like the matchup they've had there. We saw them throw to Messam a couple of plays ago. This time splitting Harrison out.
Second and goal from the 5. 7th play of the drive coming up. Three-man rush. Mitchell to the corner of the end zone, and it is caught for the touchdown. Kamar Jordan, his second touchdown of the year, and Calgary strikes in its opening possession. 6-0 with a point after to come.
Well, this is a long throw. Jordan is part of that cluster with McDaniel and Parker. Just creates some confusion for the secondary. There you see Bruce Johnson just a little bit slow to react as he tries to sort out the 3 routes in front of him. And that's just enough time.
So Jordan, the third-year man out of Bowling Green State University, has the touchdown. Now Paredes with a point after it is good, and the Calgary Stampeders have now scored an offensive touchdown in 36 straight games. Scored their opening possession to take a 7-0 lead. And a big matchup on Saturday afternoon on the CFL on TSN. Kamar Jordan, the touchdown reception, his first since the opening week of the season.
The county, baby. Shout out to the county. We out here. It's all day.
And again, here you'll see Kamar Jordan. He starts off as the outside man in this cluster, the halfback. Bruce Johnson is sitting inside. He starts off with inside leverage, and they've got to sift out those 3 receivers. Takes a little bit of time. Johnson from that inside spot as Jordan breaks out is at a disadvantage trying to get out to that sideline. Now, plenty of time for that ball to get out there.
Last week, Quincy McDuffie of Winnipeg became the first CFL player to return a kickoff for a touchdown this season. Did it against the Argonauts, got injured in that game, so TJ Heath is back to receive the kickoff, along with Pascal Lochard. Paredes to Heath inside the 10. And Heath, acquired from Toronto a couple of weeks ago, gets out to the 30-yard line. And that's where the Bombers will go to work. They've been a great first-half team in this 7-game winning streak.
Yeah, getting off to a good start, very important for them. It'll be interesting to see how they react after Calgary's instant success. There you see Matt Nichols, a big number that stands out for him. Nothing eye-popping in terms of that touchdown number or necessarily the yardage, but 7 starts, just 1 interception. He's done a great job taking care of the football, keeping that offense on the field.
Intercepted once in his last 241 attempts. First down from the 30-yard line. Nichols throws, and the pass is almost intercepted. Jamar Wall took one back for a touchdown last week against Ottawa and almost got his hands on that one.
Yeah, great anticipation there from the halfback, Jamar Wall. You saw the feet of Matt Nichols. He looked almost a little jumpy in the pocket on that opening offensive play.
Nichols throws, and the pass is caught by Clarence Denmark, a first down out to the 42-yard line. The gain is 12.
Strike there delivered by Nichols. He'll be joined again in the backfield for the 2nd consecutive week by Timothy Flanders. At running back, he replaces Andrew Harris. That brings Julian Fiola-Godino in at slot back to balance that ratio. Weston Dressler, over 300 yards in his last 3 games in the receiving corps. This offensive line group really started to come together, including former Stanley Bryant.
On first down, Nichols is under pressure, and he is sacked. Brought down by Derek Wigan. And Nichols has not been sacked much. In fact, just 4 allowed the last 5 games for Winnipeg coming in, but Wigan got him there.
Yeah, Derek Wigan, the Queens product. He's going to get to see a lot more action on that defensive line. With Junior Turner down this week. Quinn Smith also out of the lineup, serving a suspension.
Second and long. Nichols with time, looks up the field with a pass over the head of Clarence Denmark. Going to be 3rd down for the Bombers.
Well, the play ultimately ends up unsuccessful, but I do like that call from a Bomber point of view. When you've got a group of pass rushers like Calgary, and particularly a guy like Charleston Hughes, you don't want to let them get into a rhythm, and part of that is the quarterback constantly dropping back, throwing from the same spot. So I like the concept, moving the pocket a little bit and mixing it up.
Finch took a punt back for a touchdown on Labor Day against Edmonton here in Calgary. Waits for this kick from Medlock. High kick, bounces in front of Finch at the 35-yard line. 38-yard punt, and Finch up the sidelines. Pushed out of bounds just shy of midfield, and Calgary once again with good field position. An 18-yard return to the Stampeder 53. Bo Levi Mitchell engineered a touchdown drive on Calgary's opening possession. He and the Stampeders with the lead and the football when we come back in a moment. Mention that history being made here this afternoon. The first time the two teams with winning streaks of 7+ games are facing each other. Previously, 3 games involved teams with a combined 13 wins in a row. Most recent, Calgary and Baltimore back in 1995. Flags are down. The toss to Messam, and Jerome Messam spins back for a couple of yards out to midfield.
You look forward at those winning streaks, and you know, interesting in a 9-team league. I mean, first of all, you'd think in the history of the Canadian Football League that something like this would have happened before, but I guess in what has predominantly been a 9-team league, eventually those two teams are going to play each other. It can be hard to have 2 long win streaks going at the same time.
And think back to Calgary's win, the second win of the year against Winnipeg. Dropped the Bombers to 1-4 on the year. They made the quarterbacking change in mid-game.
Procedure. Calgary, number 26. The penalties decline. Second down.
They took Drew Willie out of the game, put Matt Nichols in, declared him the starter the next week, and reel off 7 wins in a row.
Yeah, an impressive turnaround. And, you know, I mean, certainly elements of it have been related to the good things Matt Nichols has done at the quarterback spot, but this defense really seemed to find its stride as well with a number of new faces. All just came together at the right time for the Bombers.
Mitchell throws, has his man. It's Markway McDaniel. Always the guy to look for on second down. To the 25-yard line he goes. And the gain is 31.
Markway McDaniel lines up as the inside slot. You're talking about a guy who had 14 catches, 196 yards in the previous 2 meetings this season. Comes into this game leading Calgary with 26 second down catches.
First down for the 25-yard line. Mitchell throws underneath. The pass is caught by Lamar Durant. And Durant got the gain of 6 inside the 20-yard line. This Winnipeg defense has been really good at forcing turnovers. The last 6 games, 28 turnovers forced. The Bombers have committed just 5. But on their heels now, with Calgary once again knocking on the door. Just inside the 20. Mitchell throws the pass through the hands of the intended target, Kamar Jordan.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Jamal Westerman, who had dropped off in coverage, whether he got a hand on that one or just created enough of a distraction. Westerman on the left side of your screen, he's going to drop out of there. Maybe creates just enough of a disturbance to affect Jordan's concentration on that ball.
And Paredes comes on. He'll try a field goal from 27 yards out. He's 35 of his last 36. And 4 points away from 1,000 from his career. Make that 1 point away from 1,000 for his career. And the Stamps have taken an early 10-0 lead. So the Bombers in an early hole. But they battled back before, did it last week. And now down by 10, Matt Nichols and Winnipeg have the football when we come back. Proud of his roots, Bo Levi Mitchell with his Eastern Washington Eagles shirt on. Not the only Iwu Eagle who's here this afternoon. Here's Farhan Lalji on the sidelines with more.
Yeah, Gordon, Matt Nichols is the other Iwu Eagle. In fact, Mitchell took over for Nichols and wound up taking a team that went to the playoffs under Nichols to a national championship the following year. Nichols was actually Mitchell's host on their recruiting trip. They had a great time, but Mitchell chose not to go. He went to Southern Methodist University instead, but he said he remembered 2 years later when he decided to transfer just how well they connected, the way he connected with the whole program, and decided that he was going to wind up going to Eastern. Both quarterbacks had fantastic success. I spoke to the offensive coordinator, Aaron Best, there yesterday. He said two completely different players. Mitchell, when he walks into a room, he owns the room. When Nichols walks into a room, you're not always sure he's there, and Nichols himself said, yeah, you know, Mitchell is as cocky as you can be, but still be likable. They've maintained a great relationship ever since.
Red helmets, red uniforms on a red field at Eastern Washington. Gain for Timothy Flanders was a couple. Second and long again for the Bombers. Nichols throws, has a man, Weston Dressler, but the pass is over his head. And the Bombers once again will have to punt.
The 2 and out is something the Bombers can't afford. Obviously getting off to the slow start here against the Calgary Stampeders. It's not just about points on the board. There's plenty of time to get 10 points back. But it's about your defense being on the field for some long drives, and you're not giving them a break.
Winnipeg enters this week with the fewest 2 and outs in the Canadian Football League this season. Medlock, good kick, chases Finch back to his 25-yard line. Some room to run, comes leaping ahead, spins, and gets outside the 40 again. This time to the 43-yard line, a 48-yard punt, a return of 13 yards. So Jerome Messam, the CFL's leading rusher, has a lead to work with. And over 200 yards rushing in 2 games against Winnipeg so far this season. The CFL on TSN, back to Calgary after this.
Head coach Dave Dickinson says you got to take care of your business at home, and if you do, you put yourself in a very good position to host a playoff game when all is said and done, and they've certainly done that.
And we mentioned how Winnipeg feasts on turnovers. Meantime, Calgary has turned the ball over just 13 times so far this season, trying to break the record set by the BC Lions of 23 in 2012.
That's the big part of this irresistible force versus immovable object matchup is the Calgary offense against the Winnipeg defense. Something's got to give. It's been all Calgary so far.
Up and throwing on first down. Bo Levi Mitchell looking over the top, and the pass just out of the fingers of Davaris Daniels.
Well, Daniels unable to duplicate last week's highlight reel touchdown catch. This one just off the fingertips for a guy who's become an emerging star in this Stampeder offense.
Spent the first 7 weeks of the season on the practice roster for Calgary.
Yeah, a guy that they liked in training camp, but they had some depth at the receiver spot. He certainly answered the bell as his opportunity has presented itself.
Throw over the middle. There's Markway McDaniel again on second down into Winnipeg territory and down to the 48-yard line for a gain of 19.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders and Markway McDaniel in particular finding a lot of open territory in the middle of the field in front of rookie safety Taylor Loeffler. Just see the middle of that field open up wide. I mean, a number of the completions so far for Calgary in this ball game have been uncontested catches.
All 4 catches by Markway McDaniel on second down for Calgary. First down for the 48-yard line, back to Messam. And Messam got tripped up quickly as Jake Thomas was to help make the stop. Gain of maybe a yard in the play. Last year, Bombers pretty easy to run on and face a lot of running attacks. They trailed late in games, but there's Jerome Messam, what he did in week 2 against Winnipeg, 137 yards rushing. That 53-yard run, the longest in the Canadian Football League this season.
Yeah, Jerome Messam, well-traveled veteran running back, appears to have found a home here with the Calgary Stampeders. He's been a tremendous fit with this group.
On second down, Mitchell throws, and the pass is incomplete. Trying to find Jordan, and for the first time, Calgary will have to kick. Now the ball is scrimmaged at the 47-yard line. That'll be a 54-yard field goal try. The Stamps haven't attempted a field goal of longer than 50 yards this season.
And it'll be Rod Maver rather than Rene Paredes coming out right now. Kicking for field position, and the Stamps have owned the field position battle here, Gord, early on as well. 3 offensive possessions, all have started beyond the Calgary 40-yard line for them.
Kevin Fogg back to receive the kick, with McDuffie out of the lineup for Winnipeg. Maver looking for the sidelines. And did he get it? He did. 6th time this year he's put one out of bounds inside the 10. This is a 44-yard kick that goes out of bounds at the 3.
Yeah, absolutely perfect placement by Rob Maver.
And a field that was already tilted gets tilted some more.
It sure does. A little Stampeder bounce.
Winnipeg leads the league this year with 5 touchdown drives that have begun inside the Bomber 20-yard line out of 34 attempts. The team was successful about 6% of the time when they scrimmage inside their 20. Early movement by Charleston Hughes. Great play for Nichols, who finds Weston Dressler. And Dressler's up to the 9. Gain of 6, but it appeared as though Hughes got in early. And the penalty will be against Calgary.
Offside, Calgary number 39. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
So move the ball to the 8-yard line.
Charleston Hughes, who comes in. Pretty good run, 3 sacks in his last couple of games, looking to add to that total, but off too early there.
Now the first down carry, and Timothy Flanders bounces outside, gets across the 10-yard line, and gets a gain of about 3.
Well, Flanders made his first start of the season last week, rushed for over 100 yards. Take a look at this Calgary defense. Zach Minter gets a shot at defensive tackle this week, as we mentioned. Junior Turner out of the lineup. The fact that Canadian Alex Singleton is now starting at middle linebacker gives them the flexibility to replace Turner with an American tackle. The secondary that's been so good, a good strike for that is in its halfbacks, Brandon Smith and Jamar Wall.
Second and a couple now. And they give to Flanders, who crosses the 15-yard line. Winnipeg is coming off a season-high 46 points against Toronto last week. Outscored the Argonauts 17-0 in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, definitely showing they've developed a little bit of a killer instinct and ability to close in that ball game, shutting the Argonauts down.
So slowly prying this thing open. They started at the 3-yard line. Now first down, just outside the 15. Nichols throws to the wide side. He's got Dressler. The ball comes loose. Out of bounds it goes with a tackle by Ciante Evans. But it appears as though Dressler was the last man to touch it. It'll be Winnipeg football up at the 20-yard line.
Well, we'll take a closer look at this and see really whether this ball was actually even a completion, if Dressler actually had control of it. Well, certainly looked from that angle that he did, like he got it tucked and turned.
Gain of 5 brings up 2nd and 5. Nichols fires again, trying to find Ryan Smith, but step for step with him was Tommy Campbell. And so the Bombers get it up to the 20, but will once again be forced to punt.
Yeah, out from under the shadow of their goalpost, but nonetheless, Calgary looks poised to start with good field position again. Roy Fitch will be awaiting this one around his own 40-yard line.
Medlock just got that away. Finch at the 50. 40-yard punt, and Finch gets into Winnipeg territory. A 9-yard return down to the 51-yard line. The tackle made by T.J. Heath. So once again, Bo Levi Mitchell and the Calgary Stampeders have great field position in the football game.
Well, they very nearly had even better field position after that punt rush. Getting a little bit of pressure up the middle.
Their worst drive start so far today, their own 43-yard line.
I believe this is their best, right? Starting in Winnipeg territory.
Both their wins over Winnipeg this year by 2 touchdowns or more. Play fake to Messam and to Parker. Mitchell, a little pump fake now, wants to go deep. Throws short instead. Messam makes the catch and rumbles inside the 50. Down to the 46-yard line for a gain of 5.
Very good discipline here from the Winnipeg secondary not to bite. First on that run fake to Messam up the middle, and then you're going to see Parker come around looking for the sweep. To Messam inside, Parker around behind. But the secondary drops off, stays with their guys. Nobody's coming up to bite on that. As a result, Bo Levi Mitchell had to settle for that check down to Jerome Messam as opposed to the deep route that he was looking for.
2nd and 5 now for Calgary. Keep an eye on 16 in red. Mitchell throws. They go to the sidelines this time, bobbled and incomplete. And that time Anthony Parker couldn't squeeze it. And so once again, you're in a situation where you could try the long field goal. This would be about 54 yards, but once again, the punting unit comes on for Calgary.
Yeah, the Stamps continue to play for field position here. It's been to their advantage so far, putting 10 points up on the board, starting off with short fields, making Winnipeg go a long way if they're going to get anything.
Kevin Fogg stands back at his 10-yard line and waiting the kick from Maver, who put his last one out at the 3. Going the other way this time. Little low driver, and where did this one go out? Just inside the 20, the 19-yard line, and so Winnipeg will have marginally better field position to start this drive with 4 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. Just a 20-yard punt by Maver that time.
And trying to drive it out to that wide side.
Fake on 1st down. Nichols looking up the sideline the other way, and the pass juggled by Rory Court. Back there on the coverage was Tommy Campbell, and the pass falls incomplete. Calgary puts 10 on the board in the opening 15 minutes. A 10-0 lead on Winnipeg in the battle of a 7-game winning streak and a 9-game winning streak on the CFL on TSN from Calgary. Back at McMahon Stadium, the numbers through the opening 15 minutes favor Calgary decisively. Just 18 net yards for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The average drive start for the Calgary Stampeders, their own 50-yard line. And Mark McDaniel with 4 second down catches.
Yeah, I mean, you do the math on that average drive start plus the offensive output by both teams. Bottom line, it comes out to all Calgary Stampeders in the opening 15.
So if you're Winnipeg, how do you approach the second quarter?
Well, I think you've kind of got to take a deep breath, as simple as that sounds. It seemed to me, even from sort of the first offensive play that Winnipeg ran, Matt Nichols looked a little bit jittery. I think Matt has kind of settled in and is starting to get to that point. I think the defense may be starting to settle in. But the fact is the hype around this game, the fact it's a regular season game, a lot of football to be played, but it's a big one.
Nichols throws, and the pass is caught by Clarence Denmark out to the 30-yard line. Nichols is 0-5 in his career against Calgary. All 5 losses came as a member of the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, Clarence Denmark, the intended receiver here. He's lined up in the slot. Denmark, of course, one of the great sub-stories of the Blue Bombers' return to prominence here in the CFL. A guy who they had let go in the offseason but brought back when there were some injuries.
Nichols throws the wide side. Dressler makes the catch and is brought down there by Cianti Evans for a gain of 2. And The numbers for Matt Nichols aren't spectacular during the winning streak. 7 touchdown passes, but just the 1 interception you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, that's what really stands out. One of the other things that stands out with Matt Nichols, obviously there's an impression completion percentage there as well. But with Matt Nichols at quarterback, the frequency of sacks being allowed by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers has dropped significantly.
Facing another 2nd and long. Nichols throws underneath. The pass caught by Ryan Smith. He's got a first down as Deron Mayo makes the tackle, but not before. Smith gets out for a gain of 10 to the 42-yard line.
You know what I mean? People so often equate those sack numbers with the work of the offensive line, and that's certainly a part of it. But the fact that Matt Nichols gets the ball out of his hands quickly is a significant part of that as well.
Mark the ball to 43, first down Bombers. Denmark makes the catch, but gets wrapped up right away by the safety, Josh Bell. And the gain is maybe a couple to bring up another 2nd and long.
Well, Josh Bell, the former BC Lion. Great face paint job today. Stampeders safety.
Mark that as no gain, by the way. We mentioned that Calgary's won 15 of the last 16 meetings. The only Bomber win in 2014, the last week of the regular season. Calgary had already clinched its playoff berth. On 2nd down, Nichols throws, but Smith broke to the sideline. The ball went up the field, and once again, the Bombers will have to punt. And they have yet to cross midfield in this football game.
Again, they're going to have to start to get some traction, and you know, it may come through the work of Timothy Flanders in the run game. Try and settle things down, maybe slow down the pace a little bit. Mix things up on this Calgary defense.
4th straight punt for Winnipeg. Finch field to the 35-yard line. A 32-yard punt, and Finch gets out to the 52-yard line. And Calgary again with a short field after a 17-yard return. It might be up to the Winnipeg defense to make some noise, and Maurice Liggett has been the man to do it this year. Leads the CFL with 6 interceptions. 3 of them returned for touchdowns. Dwayne Ford's world, the end zone was made entirely of turkey legs.
More of a white meat guy, to be honest.
Oh, sorry. Well, turkey breast then. Sorry. Did you visit Spalumbo's today here in Calgary?
I definitely visited Spalumbo's. Had a good visit with my friend Tony Spallettini.
Former teammate.
Yes, sir.
First down, Stampeders from their 52-yard line. Here's Messam. And right away got wrapped up there by Winnipeg's Jake Thomas for a gain of maybe a yard.
Well, Jake Thomas back in the lineup after a couple of game absence. Big part of that defensive line rotation, the Acadia product.
So a gain of a yard brings up 2nd and 9 for Calgary. Stampeders had things their own way in the early going last week against Ottawa, and then saw the game get closer in the second half. Mitchell has time and throws. The pass is caught by Tavares Daniels, a first down to the Winnipeg 44-yard line.
Well, Daniels that time using his speed in his favor, getting the defender backpedaling before running the comeback. He was all the talk last week after that outstretched one-handed snag, managing to just get the tiptoes down.
This is his 6th game, Dwayne. He's had at least 4 catches in every game he's played so far.
Yeah, interesting to hear Dave Dickinson and Bo Levi Mitchell talk about how quickly this rookie has settled in and learned the system, etc.
Now they give to Torrey Harrison, who gets down the 41-yard line for a gain of 3.
Daniels, the son of former NFLer Philip Daniels, who now, of course, is the assistant defensive line coach with the Philadelphia Eagles. We joked with him yesterday about, you know, how'd you end up playing offense? Dad didn't try to turn you into a DB. He said, well, that was a tough conversation at first, but he said, I wanted the ball.
On 2nd and 7, Mitchell fires again as Marquay McDaniel. Another second down catch. All 5 of his receptions here in the game have been on second down. Another Calgary first down to the 25-yard line.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for tendencies in the Calgary offense, your tendency is this. Second down, the ball's going somewhere in the middle of the field to Marquay McDaniel. 5 times.
Third game of the year for McDaniel against Winnipeg. He's already got 19 catches for nearly 250 yards.
Yeah, and I mean, 3 games. This puts Marquay McDaniel now, I believe, at 70 catches for the season. 19 of them in less than 10 quarters against Winnipeg.
First down, Calgary now for the Winnipeg 25-yard line. Mitchell throws back. The pass complete to Daniels inside the 15-yard line, brought down to 14. As the tackle was made by Tony Burnett, a gain of 11, and another Calgary first down.
Well, as Daniels continues to establish himself as a playmaker, the Stampeders will continue to find different ways to get the ball into his hands here. That hitch screen off play action, the other receivers do a nice job blocking. I believe Kamar Jordan, Marquay McDaniel had the key pickups out there.
Now on first down, Mitchell looks to the end zone. Touchdown, Lamar Durant.
Second-year man with his first of the season. Big one for the Simon Fraser product.
Had 3 touchdowns last year for Calgary. His first of the year here. And the Stampeders are 2 for 3 in the red zone this afternoon. And will now go for 2. 6th straight game they've gone for 2 at least once.
Yeah, this has been a trend over the last couple of years, really, for the Calgary Stampeders. Very frequently attempting the 2-point conversion.
Trying to make it an 18-point lead. Mitchell throws to the goal line. It is caught. Rob Cote spiked it off Johnny Adams. We get a flag for that.
And Rob Cote went and apologized because he didn't know Johnny Adams was there.
So the 2-point conversion is good. And the Calgary Stampeders in the winning streak battle have the early advantage. 18 points at home.
After the convert.
Down for Lamar Durant, the Vancouver native out of Simon Fraser University. And Rob Cote got assessed the 15-yard objectionable conduct penalty for spiking the ball into Johnny Adams after he received it.
Well, objectionable conduct penalty for not having eyes in the back of his head. Basically, he didn't see Adams there. Clearly didn't see him. Went to spike the ball just as Adams was walking by. He actually picked up the ball and went and apologized to Johnny Adams as the flag was on the ground.
So now Calgary kicks off at the 25-yard line. The ball fielded by T.J. Heath. Comes out across the 45 to the 46. So Winnipeg will have its best field position of the game, thanks in large part to the 15-yard penalty. But now the Bombers are down by 18 in a place where they have won 3 times in 25 games since 1992.
Well, you can't get too caught up in any past history if you're Winnipeg right now, the fact that they've struggled to win here. And you can't get too caught up in trying to get all of these points back at once. I think you've got to remain somewhat patient. Again, there's still a lot of football to be played here. So don't force plays and risk making mistakes. That hasn't been what's made them successful.
Nichols has that pass batted and then swatted away by offensive lineman Travis Bond, who won nothing to do with that football.
Well, you have the ball, you got to run, and offensive linemen really aren't into that. It's actually a heads-up play by Bond to make sure that this one gets down to the ground rather than bouncing around where it can be picked off.
You see Bond, number 60, just fire that one away. So now 2nd and 10 for the Bombers from their 46. Nichols fires to Dressler. He's got it for first down and more into Calgary territory and out of bounds at the 39-yard line.
You talk about threading the needle. That's exactly what Matt Nichols did here. Calgary only rushed 3 on the play. They've got 9 in coverage, which means any windows are going to be small to begin with. But this is particularly tight. You saw the reaction of Alex Singleton, who's in disbelief that neither he nor Tommy Campbell were able to make a play on that ball.
Game was 25, and Winnipeg's across midfield for the first time. Flanders. Flag comes down as he wrapped up by Zach Minter. Gain was 3 on the play, down to the 36-yard line. Now, Micah Johnson's into it with Bond. Bond's fighting losing battle to keep that jersey down.
Holding. Winnipeg, number 12. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Ryan Smith called for the hold, so that game will come back.
Keep an eye on Ryan Smith. Getting involved in the run block here. Hands are on the outside, as you saw.
So now 1st and 20 for the Bombers from the Calgary 49. Nichols under pressure, and he is dropped. Took a moment, but Zach Minter finally got to him. And the Stampeders have 2 sacks here in the first half. Another flag is down, this time in the Calgary defensive backfield.
Objectional conduct. Calgary, number 39. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Charlton Hughes called for objectionable conduct. And so the ball will come back to the 46. The sack will count. It's after the play.
Calgary showed 5, rushed 5. 5 rushers against 5 blockers. They just won the one-on-one battles there.
So now it's 2nd and 17 for Winnipeg from the Calgary 46. Nichols has time, heaves it up for Dressler, and the pass is intercepted. Picked off by Jamar Wall. He's got a convoy up the sidelines. Bond was bearing in on him. But Jamar Wall with the pick out of bounds at midfield. The first turnover goes to the Stampeders. Just the 2nd interception thrown by Nichols this season. Calgary with the lead, and now thanks to Jamar Wall, the ball, and once again, great field position. Jamar Wall with his 4th interception of the year, took one back for a touchdown last week against Ottawa.
Well, Jamar Wall from his regular halfback spot falls off, lets his guy go, and as this ball hangs, it's slow developing, giving him plenty of time to come underneath. And this is exactly what I meant, Gord, when I talked about resisting that temptation to try to get everything back at once. Ball that I think was forced up into coverage there.
Messam on the first down carry. Some pushing and shoving breaks out now. Tackle was made by Khalil Bass. The ball down to the Winnipeg 50-yard line. 6 to go here in the opening half. And there's, in the middle of it, Jamal Westerman, along with Jerome Messam, high school teammates from Brampton, Ontario.
Yeah, Notre Dame High School. Pretty good team. Also included former CFL or Fernand Kashama. The 3 of them played together for a number of years.
On second down, goalie by Mitchell, complete. And Tavares Daniels off and running inside the 30. And brought down to the 23-yard line. Tavares Daniels a gain of 27 yards, and Calgary once again back in business.
Well, another one coming across the middle, quick slant from the receiver. Daniels working left to right on your screen.
Bo Levi Mitchell already over 200 yards passing on the afternoon.
Well, you know, everybody looked at this as something of a statement game or a message game for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, trying to establish themselves on top. I think the Calgary Stampeders had a message of their own they wanted to deliver.
Back to Messam on first down, and Messam busts down to the 15-yard line for a gain of 7. In an odd bit of scheduling, this is Calgary's last game against a West Division opponent this season until the playoffs. Their last 5 games, all against the East.
Yeah, unique, given the scheduling we're used to in the Canadian Football League with some divisional matchups down the stretch. Great lead block there, by the way, from the fullback. Charlie Power in on that play.
4th time in the red zone here in the first half. Messam busts through. Messam, touchdown! His league-leading 10th of the year. And Calgary's busting it open here at home.
And I get the sense, Gord, that what you're starting to see a little bit. Remember we talked early in this ball game about the fact that Winnipeg needed to put together some drives, not so much for the points, but to give their defense a break. And I think you're seeing a Winnipeg defense that even early in this ball game, just given what the time of possession has been, is starting to get worn down, and they're trying to deal with tackling 250-pound running back. And that's going to wear you down over the course of a ball game.
Calgary go for 2 again with a 24-0 lead. Mitchell flushed out, throws down towards the goal line. A flag comes down at the end of the play. That pass is almost picked off by Mo Leggett. Flag was in the Calgary offensive backfield. And I believe it's against Winnipeg. It is. And so now the ball will be moved down to the 1-yard line for the 2-point convert try. And the short yardage team, led by former Calgary Dino Andrew Buckley, has come on.
Roughing the passer, 55, Winnipeg. Half the distance to goal, will retry the convert.
So Westerman called for the roughing the passer penalty.
Westerman's going to come from his regular defensive end spot. And it's not anything particularly rough about the roughing of the passer, but apparently the officials felt that it was a little late and unnecessary.
Mitchell stays in, hands off. Messam lost the football, and picked up by Leggett. He throws it back. The ball is still loose, and finally stopped at the 5. The longest point after sequence maybe in league history comes to a conclusion. Calgary will settle for just the 6 on that touchdown and a 24-0 lead with 3.5 to go in the first half.
Well, it was the ball that nobody wanted on this play. Messam has it popped out by his old buddy Westerman. Levi Mitchell thought better than sticking his body in to try and recover. Mo Leggett gets it. He gets stripped. May even have ended up back in the hands of Jerome Messam after all was said and done.
The circle of life. 10 touchdowns for Messam on the year, the 31-year-old.
Hell yeah, baby. Hey, good pick, Wall.
First meeting, he had 16 carries for 137 yards. First brought in after John Cornish retired. Long tradition of Canadian running backs in Calgary.
Hey, Jill, Jaya. That's for you guys. I love you.
Neighbor with the kickoff. Bringing it back is TJ Heath. A flag comes down at the end of that play as well. Might have been a late hit there on Heath. And the ball spotted for now with the 36. Coming up at halftime, the GMC Precision Playbook, starring the one and only Dwayne Ford on the kick return team's wedge. Were you a wedge buster or were you in the wedge?
No, I was in the wedge. I did not cover a lot of kickoffs in my day. A lot of people had to get hurt before I made my way onto the kick cover team.
So the late hit called against Calgary sets Winnipeg up first down at its own 51-yard line, down 24. Nichols' pass is complete as he finds Ryan Smith inside Calgary territory down to the 51-yard line, a gain of 9.
One of the big issues in this Winnipeg receiving corps so far this season has just been continuity, and it's been impressive they've been able to enjoy the success they have. These guys have been in and out of the lineup, Ryan Smith included.
We reached a 3-minute warning here in Calgary. It's been all Stampeders in the first half, but the Bombers have the ball and a chance here in the final 3.
3 minutes to halftime, a half thoroughly dominated by the Calgary Stampeders. Rod and the guys back in the studio getting set to talk about that, and also part 2 of the doubleheader later in Regina with the Riders and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Back to McMahon now. Gordon Dwayne, guys.
I think we have mimes in the studio. I'm concerned. Matt Nichols just heaves that ball towards the sidelines. The flag comes down at the end of the play as Charles Hughes is all over him. Look at the discus there from Matt Nichols trying to get rid of that thing. He's second in a yard. And the officials now talking it over to see if this was intentional grounding.
There's no flag on the play. Incomplete pass. Second down.
I think it's third down, isn't it? It is third down.
It's been tough sledding for Matt Nichols.
This is third down. Third down.
So third and a long yard. Winnipeg will gamble at the Calgary 50-yard line. Flanders gets through and more to go. Flanders busts through, off and running inside the 20. Timothy Flanders, touchdown. On a 3rd and 1 play, Flanders with a 50-yard run gives Winnipeg some life.
Well, you're going to see Calgary's looking for a big play. Free safety Josh Bell gets up in the line of scrimmage, as does halfback Brandon Smith. So you see, if there's a crack, and there's that great cut by Timothy Flanders, he gets a crack. There is absolutely nobody in behind to support. Basically, the Stampeders were in a straight line across the line of scrimmage. And the net result is the Winnipeg Blue Bombers' biggest offensive play of the game by far, and it couldn't be more desperately needed.
So Flanders, who made his first start last week, has touchdowns in back-to-back games. And man, did Winnipeg need that. A big play along the ground, which has been unusual for them this year. They have the lowest average gain per rush in the CFL. That'll help the 50-yard run by Flanders.
Well, sometimes you just have the right play on at the right time. And it doesn't hurt. Watch this cut by Flanders. That big lateral step. And then gets back to north-south and finds, once he breaks that line of scrimmage, there's nobody home.
So 2:38 to go here in the first half.
Fuck, man. I already told him they can't stop me. Fuck, he's running out.
Roy Finch back to receive. The Bomber kickoff.
Well, Finch has provided Calgary with very good field position every opportunity he's had in this ball game. So if Winnipeg is looking to keep any kind of momentum here, they need a terrific effort from, first of all, their kickoff cover team, and then their defense.
Here's Finch from the 2. And across the 25, still going. The 40. And finally cut down by Randall, but once again, great field position for the Calgary Stampeders. A 55-yard return. He goes out at the Winnipeg 54.
Well, Roy Finch, we said it off the top, just continues to carve out a niche for himself as a return guy in this league. A couple of good blocks early on, and then it's about Finch making people miss. And once again, it's the Calgary Stampeders starting with the ball out around midfield. The momentum of that big Timothy Flanders run, just like that, forgotten.
Lots of time to work with for the Stampeders. Messam, the first down carry. He busts through again, gets down to the 45-yard line. Tipped it there by the middle linebacker, Khalil Bass. So Calgary trying to continue a recent trend here in the CFL. Last week, the home team swept all 4 games. So far, they're 2-0 this week. It was all road teams in the first 11 weeks of the season.
Except
with the exception of here. And that's been a continuing story for Calgary the last 5-6 years, and actually further back than that. Back to your playing days here, this is always a tough place to play.
Was that more than 5 or 6 years ago?
It was more than 5 or 6 years ago.
It's a bit of a blur to me, Gordon.
Yes. Messam with the second down carry. The ball comes squirting free. Adams tried to pick it up and lost it, and the Stamps have it. Pounced on by Devaris Daniels. Johnny Adams, not sure what he was doing there.
I'm not sure if he was trying to tip it into open space so he could pick it up and run. But if Johnny Adams needed to just jump on that football.
The ball came flying out of the pile.
Now, this will be interesting to see because the ball sure jutted out of there, and I wonder if it hit the ground and if somebody kicked it.
It did.
So it's kicked. That should be a change of possession. Unless the person that recovers it, well, because Adams touched it, no yards. That should be no yards against Calgary.
Now, could Winnipeg challenge
right here? See, this ball is intentionally kicked.
That's right. It was kicked by Spencer Wilson.
The only way that Anthony Parker now can be within 5 yards when Johnny Adams touches the ball is if he was behind Wilson when he kicked the ball. I don't believe he was, so I think this should be no yards against Calgary and should be Winnipeg ball.
So the officials talking it over. Dave Foxcroft, the referee. What an unusual sequence. So now we know why the ball came flying out of there. Spencer Wilson having a bit of a giggle there. Yeah, I did it. So the ball right now is spotted at the Winnipeg 16-yard line. And it appears that's going to continue to be the case. We're going to huddle again now.
On the previous play, Calgary dribbled the ball. First touch by Winnipeg, recovered by Calgary. First down, Calgary.
All right, there's the explanation.
Dribbled it. When is a kick not a kick? when it's a dribble. A huge break for the Stampeders there. Down to the 16-yard line they go. Mitchell fires at Daniels, and Adams there to make the stop. But go back to the question, why didn't Adams field the ball?
Yeah, it looked like he was maybe trying to pick it up and run instead of just making sure that he got possession. Missed an opportunity. So here it is. Here's the dribble.
And Adams has a free path to it.
Yeah, he's worrying about running rather than getting possession.
Second down, Mitchell to the end zone. The pass is incomplete for Markway McDaniel. Maurice Leggett was there on the coverage. And Mitchell maybe wants to know if Calgary will challenge pass interference here. So Mitchell looking to the sidelines, wondering if Dave Dickinson wants to throw the flag. Now, Dave Dickinson has not had a great run on challenges.
Not as impressive as the overall win streak. And there was a moment in that route where Markway McDaniel stumbled a little bit and just couldn't recover in time to get to the ball. I don't think he was touched by a defender. I think he just lost his footing for a second that cost him a shot at that ball in the end zone.
Now Paredes, an 18-yard field goal try. And it's good. So Calgary answers Winnipeg 7 with 3 of its own. And a 20-point Calgary lead. To the sidelines, here's Farhan Lalji.
Guys, if you had a chance to see Rene Paredes after that kick, he is shaking out his right kicking leg. He appears to have a bit of a pulled quad. On the last kickoff, Rob Maver kicked off for the Stamps, and it looks like he's going to do that again, something he hasn't done in years. It also may answer why Calgary went for 2 on their previous 2 touchdowns. That was a short chip shot field goal so they could roll Paredes out there. Had they scored, I'm curious to see if they would have gone for 2 again. So again, Paredes dealing with a bit of a pulled quad as we get into the late stages of the first half.
Paredes has now crossed 1,000 points for his career in scoring. But worth noting, and clearly want to make sure that's taken care of before we get into October and November. Winnipeg starts from his own 35-yard line, down by 20. Matt Nichols heaves it out there, caught by Clarence Denmark up to the 49-yard line. A first down, a gain of 13 yards.
Clarence Denmark has been such a reliable addition coming back to this Winnipeg Blue Bomber receiving corps.
On first down, Nichols fires, and the pass incomplete for Ryan Smith. Smith is dealing with a very painful injury. He lost his thumbnail last week against Toronto. So catching football's not ideal when you don't have a thumbnail. He's battled injuries all year after having that great start to the season.
All through this receiving corps, he and Weston Gretzko down at times. Gerard Shepard injured last week.
Second and long now for the Bombers. Nichols has lots of time, fires, and the pass incomplete. Almost picked off there by Brandon Smith, looking for Rory Collard. And once again, Winnipeg will have to punt with 41 seconds to go in the first half.
Yeah, lots of time, but nobody open for Matt Nichols there.
And Winnipeg will punt for the 5th time here in the first half. Finch takes it to his 25-yard line. And out to the 32, and that's where Calgary will take over. Stampeders unbeaten in 11 straight. 6-0 at home. Winners of 9 straight. Dave Dickinson is the best first-year coaching percentage in CFL history. He maintains it through the end of the season, outstripping the likes of Darryl Royal, Bud Grant, Jerry Williams, former Calgary Stampeder head coach.
Well, I talked to Dave yesterday about the idea of teams taking on the personality of their head coaches, and I asked him what is it about the way he approaches the game that he wants this team to follow, and he just talked about attention to detail. He says that players have really bought into that idea.
Flag comes down as Messam gets up to the 35-yard line. The worst drive start for the Calgary Stampeders, their own 31-yard line. Dave Dickinson was really underestimated throughout his college career.
Calgary, number 63. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Actually, there is no Calgary number 63. But Dickinson was, even in Canadian Football League, somewhat underestimated. Tough player.
Yeah.
He was,
well, tough player, very smart player, and you know, as we talked about, very detail-oriented guy. Fiery competitor, incredibly accurate passer. And as you're finding out here as a coach, brilliant football mind.
ball squirted free for a moment, but back in the hands of the ball carrier as Messam fell on that one. And so the Stampeders now with the ball at their 22-yard line. 2nd and 20 with time winding down here in the first half. First time in CFL history, the two teams with a combined winning streak mark of 16 are facing each other. 9 wins in a row for Calgary, 7 in a row for Winnipeg. And the first 30 minutes go almost all in Calgary's direction. The Stampeders go to the locker room with a 27-7 lead here at halftime. A 20-point Calgary lead. Time now for CFL at the half with Rod Smith and the panel.
Thank you, Gordon, along with Jock and Matty and Milt, and a big test for the Bombers in Calgary, and so far they are certainly failing at losing by 20 points. Every team that goes into McMahon, Matty, when you got to deal with Bo Levi Mitchell and that offense, I mean, they're not missing a beat.
No, they're not. And you heard the boys talking about it at the park there. And it carries over. Your reflection, your head coach, Dave Dickinson, was a surgeon. Bo Levi is a surgeon. And he knows what's on the line here. He knows that he's a measuring stick, and he's fixing to show these guys just how much further they have to go in order to be as good as he is. He just stands tall in that pocket there, never even moved his feet. And here, watch him drop his elbow in his release. He just finds Marquay McDaniel, who's his favorite target in the first half on 2nd and long, and here on Loeffler, and one of my favorite guys in the back end for Winnipeg, getting torched in the first half by Marquay McDaniel, particularly on 2nd and 10 across the middle. Again, Bo Levi Mitchell, all kinds of time up front, making it happen. 73% completion already, well over 200 yards, and just as relaxed back there because there's no pressure whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm running out of superlatives to describe these Calgary Stampeders and the things they do so well. We obviously know about their pass protection. I'm not sure people understand that this is a football team that has given up fewer sacks than anybody else. They're twice as good as the next place team at that. They're just, the protection's incredible. And it allows them to do things offensively that other teams just wouldn't dream of doing. I'm going to show you a play here where Marquay McDaniel is running a route where you just don't normally put this in a playbook because you'd never believe you'd have the time for it. And he's running a deep in smash out. And the only reason, normally the ball's being thrown right now. On a dig pattern, which is what he's starting to run, the ball's coming out now. Do they have that in the playbook? No. They allow him to stop, pivot, and come out, and then Mitchell hits him. The fact that it's in their playbook is because they have that much confidence that their O-line will give Mitchell that kind of time. In 12 years of football, I never had a pass pattern like that. Not one. Because if I went to the coach and said, can I run in, and then back out, he'd be like, and where do you think we're getting all that time, Mr. Climby? It'd be out of the question.
That's what happens when you run a forever, Jock. They don't have time.
Maybe.
I like that split screen.
Split screen's good.
Split screen was good.
Well, the concern coming into this game was, could Matt Nichols win a game when his defense wasn't creating turnovers, putting him in great field position or scoring himself? Or the same way for the special teams. Could he win in the shootout? And so far this first half, he hasn't fared too well. You know, he's been making some bad throws. He's had some open receivers. You see right here, Weston Dresser wide open. You got to make that. There's another play right here. Trying to do a throw behind. It's not working. Maybe he's not on the same page as the receiver. Another play right here. Long play. It's not going to work. And then he throws the interception to Jamar Wall. He has to find a way to come out in the second half and win a game, because it's not going to be every single game where your special teams and your defense are doing a great job. As a starting quarterback in the CFL, there's going to be some games where you have to go out there and throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, and it's looking like this is going to be one of those games.
Bill, remember what happened last week when they're playing Toronto? 27-7 in the second half for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I'm saying there's a chance.
There's a chance.
Yeah, there's a chance.
They could use that just to tie the game up and force OT, because that's what they're trailing at right now. We have more coming up, including Kate McKenna here at the half.
Two teams riding winning streaks of 7 games or longer. Mitchell to the corner of the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown. Mitchell looks to the end zone. Has a touchdown. And Calgary's busting it open here at home.
Halftime stats. Sometimes the numbers can be misleading. Sometimes they are bang on, and they're bang on here. A 20-point lead for the Calgary Stampeders, and Bo Levi Mitchell standing by with Farhan Lalji.
You were playing shutout football there. They finally get the one big play. Was it important to come down after that and get another drive and get more points?
No, absolutely. Just wish we'd put the ball in the end zone right there. Man, we've had some opportunities. Roy, what do you say about the guy right now? I mean, he's making it easy on the offense. The whole special teams is, obviously, but Roy's just catching that ball, hitting it, giving us the ball at the 55-yard line. We have half the field to work with to go out there and score points.
Yeah, and you're certainly doing your part. Over 200 yards passing for you and halfway to 50 points here. Your buddy Matt Nichols said earlier this week, you're so calm right now, it looks like you're almost lazy. Do you feel that calm out there, like everything's slow?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I'm always calm out there on the field. I get hyped up after the play, after we score, or after 55 does something like that. we're going to keep playing Stampeder football. We're not going to buy into what they do. They're finding out who they are right now. We're going to continue to show that to them.
Thanks for this.
Appreciate it.
Wow. You talked about earlier, Matty. Strong words from Bo Levi Mitchell.
Confident, play with confidence, have to.
Good reason to be.
Yeah, really good reason to be. Second half about to begin. It's all Calgary so far. Stick around.
Closed captioning is brought to you by the 2017 Honda Ridgeline. Truck smarter with our most intelligent pickup yet.
You have a vision. It's why you can see what others can't. You know what you want, and we can help you get it. You need options? We've got all kinds, including special finishes and papers. And they're all absolutely guaranteed, every time, for any reason. Because you have a vision, and we have your car. 500 start at just $9.99 when you enter promo code 500 at vistaprint.ca.
Little things help make the world go round. Like when you can use points to pay for the things you love every day. Like when intelligent systems help protect you from fraud. And when getting to the front of the line for movies, concerts, and restaurants can turn a good night great. Just part of the helping your world run smoothly service we deliver daily. American Express. Realize the potential.
Harvey's has a new special offer, Canada. For a limited time, buy 2 original burgers and get 1 free. Customize 2 beautiful burgers and get 1 flame-grilled, freshly topped original burger absolutely free. But for 2 weeks only from September 12th to 25th. Now that's a beautiful thing.
I didn't have time to shop around from dealership to dealership for a new vehicle. I also didn't have a great credit score, but I needed a new car, and obviously I wanted to get the best deal possible. That's why I chose Canada Drives. All I had to do was fill out a quick online application. That same day, one of Canada Drive's dealer partners contacted me. I went down to the dealership, picked the car I wanted, and that's it. As far as I'm concerned, this is the only way to buy a car.
Stampeders up by 20 through the first half of this football game. Bo Levi Mitchell had some pretty strong words in his halftime interview. What does Mike O'Shea have to say to Farhan Lalji?
Coach, Matt Nichols has had a tough time getting on track. He seems to be getting a lot of pressure, and they seem to be getting it with 4. How do you adjust to that?
Well, obviously the offense is going to look at protection and look at different route combinations that can get us open downfield. We need better first down production, keep us out of that second and long situation, which Calgary is so good at.
Bo Levi Mitchell has looked very comfortable on the other side. What can you do to get him off his game a bit?
Well,
here?
they certainly started fast, and we didn't help them. We certainly didn't help ourselves. We gave them a short field, I think, the entire first half. So we got to do better on our cover teams, keep the pressure up, and make plays on balls when they're thrown down the middle.
Thanks, Mike.
Now the field position battle was decidedly in Calgary's favor. And a rose-colored view of things from the Stampeder perspective. Winnipeg, remember, won the toss, deferred to the second half, so the Bombers will receive here. Maber will once again kick off. Rene Paredes is still on the sidelines for Calgary, but Farhan reported feeling some tightness in his leg near the end of the first half. And so Maber kicks off. And the ball taken by TJ Heath. And Heath gets up close to the 40-yard line. Brought down by Adam Tebow in the special teams play for Calgary. And here's a look at the first half for Matt Nichols.
And Nichols on the run. Much of that first half as the Calgary defense got to him a few times. Other times, Calgary just rushing 3 or 4, allowing them to drop 8 or 9 into coverage and just giving him very little to throw at.
Just the 6th interception thrown by Winnipeg so far this year, the fewest in the Canadian Football League. That's the only turnover of the game so far. And back to the ground to Timothy Flanders, who fights across the 45-yard line for a gain of 7. Tackled there by Alex Singleton, who had 10 tackles last week against Ottawa, 8 in the first half.
Well, you're getting to see a couple of the gems from this 2016 draft class in this ball game. Alex Singleton taken 6th overall by Calgary, and Taylor Lawford taken in the 3rd round by Winnipeg. 2 rookie starters.
Kyle Flanders on the second down carry. He needed the 48-yard line. They're marking him at about the 46. This will be a 3rd and 2 for Winnipeg.
Alex Singleton just in the top left corner of your screen, the middle linebacker. His emergence has allowed the young Canadian to take over at middle linebacker. They released veteran Taylor Reed.
And then Reed, picked up by Ottawa, played against Calgary just days later. Mike O'Shea thought about gambling here, but sends the punt team out late.
Well, I think the field position is a factor for him at this point. He knows that was a big part of their struggle at Calgary's edge in the first half.
And there's Finch from the 15-yard line for a 49-yard punt. And Finch is planted there by Derek Jones. And so Calgary will start at its own 23-yard line, by far the worst field position the Stamps have had in the game, as Bo Levi Mitchell goes back to work.
And a quick start, as Mike O'Shea mentioned, for Bo Levi Mitchell. Came out of the gate slinging. We had 5 second down conversions to Marquay McDaniel alone in that first half, spreading the ball around to all his receivers. Lamar Durant with his first touchdown of the season.
Durant, by the way, the 14th different Calgary Stampeder to catch a touchdown pass this year. On first down, Mitchell trying to screen it out, but the pass is batted down. Shayon Green got a hand on that. We saw this last week when Calgary played Ottawa, Dwayne, that Calgary had everything go its way in the first half of the football game, but Ottawa was able to make a game of it in the second half, got some stops on defense, and then got some momentum going and some big plays.
Yeah, well, that's the key. And, you know, it was a trend right from the start of this football game, Gord, where Winnipeg wasn't getting any traction offensively. Their defense was giving up some drives. Defense never got a break, and I truly think by the end of that first half, Winnipeg's defense was a little bit worn out.
On 2nd and 10, Mitchell has all day, throws up the sideline. The pass is caught. Lamar Durant in double coverage takes it away from Johnny Adams and Taylor Loeffler. The gain is 22 yards on a Calgary first down.
I'm still trying to figure out how Lamar Durant slipped all the way down to number 18. 18th overall in the 2015 draft. Guy who was dominant throughout his college career at Simon Fraser. Demonstrating.
It's a 32-yard gain. Dwayne, sorry about that.
Yeah, demonstrating the physical skills that allowed him to do that. I mean, this, talking about draft steals and guys like Singleton and Loeffler. Lamar Durant from a year ago to me is that guy.
So once again, the field position tilts towards Calgary. First down at midfield. Mitchell escapes, throws over the middle. The pass is caught. Kamar Jordan, another first down. Up to the 41-yard line for a gain of 14.
Calgary receivers continuing to find that big open space in the middle of the field. Watch here as Kamar Jordan climbs the ladder.
Third catch for Kamar Jordan today, replacing Bakari Grant, who was shaken up last week against Ottawa.
Another uncontested catch for the Stampeders.
Messam on the first down carry. Up for a gain of a couple. Westerman got a hand on him. The other story for the Calgary Stampeders this season, 10 different offensive linemen have played for them. They've had massive injuries. 2 weeks ago, they didn't have enough guys to practice one day.
Yeah, I mean, this seems to have been a theme for the Calgary Stampeders over the course of the last few years. Injuries and a bit of a revolving door on that offensive line. But it's one of the themes of successful teams is next man up. It doesn't matter who's in there. There's an expectation that you're going to perform at the required level.
2nd and 9. Mitchell has time, throws up the sideline. The pass incomplete as he was trying to find Durant. TJ Heath was there in the coverage, and he's injured right at the goal line. Calgary's allowed just 13 quarterback sacks this year. That's 10 fewer than any other team.
Keep an eye on Durant as he releases from the slot. Heath going to pick him up downfield as he comes over to help. Playing that dime position.
So now Paredes will come on to try a 47-yard field goal. His longest of the year is 49. I mentioned Paredes has been struggling with a bit of a tweak here this afternoon. Lots on this, and it's good. So Paredes, who crossed the 1,000-point barrier earlier in this football game, adds to Calgary's lead. Now a 30-7 lead. So the Stampeders, with their worst field position of the game, get points out of it and lead again by 23. Calgary Stampeder defense has allowed the fewest points this year, the lowest opposition completion percentage. With more on it, here is Farhan Lalji.
Yeah, and Devon Claybrooks thinks they should have given up even fewer at the first half of this game. I asked him, did you blitz even one time during the first half? And he said, no, I don't think so. I said, why wouldn't you, even in a second and long situation? And he said, why would you? I think my 12 are better than their 12. There's absolutely no reason for me to create any sort of bad matchups. And the one long Flanders touchdown run, he had 7 men on the line of scrimmage but didn't blitz any of them. He was unhappy that one of them was in the wrong gap. Always competitive, even in this situation, up by 23.
Matt Nichols looking deep. The pass incomplete for Weston Dressler. Back on the coverage was Jamar Wall for the Stampeders.
Well, the fact is, a successful team follows that philosophy of Devon Claybrooks. Your expectation to perform at a certain level doesn't change based on what the score of a ball game is.
Winnipeg just 5 of 13 on second down so far.
Second and long, we'll see what we get from the Calgary front here.
5-man rush. Nichols throws, and the pass is incomplete for Clarence Denmark. Brandon Smith there on the coverage, and yet again, Mike O'Shea has to send the kicking unit on the field. Second straight 2-and-out to open this second half.
Well, Brandon Smith, to me, is one of the unsung heroes of this Calgary Stampeder defense. Veteran guy, very reliable, playing a tough spot. That halfback position, you get challenging matchups week after week. He's been doing it well for a long time.
Headlock tick down to Finch at the 30-yard line, a 49-yard punt. And not much on the return as Tony Burnett makes the tackle. There's a flag on the play. And we'll sort that out when we return. The CFL on TSN as the Calgary Stampeders leading Winnipeg 30-7.
I just want to take a minute and go back to one of the maybe controversial plays of the first half, the Jerome Messam fumble that was kicked, dribbled by Spencer Wilson. My thought was that it was a kick and a change of possession. That interpretation only applies if the fumbled ball is kicked out of bounds, where the team that didn't kick it would then get possession of the ball. But in that instance, it's essentially considered almost like a fumble recovery for Spencer Wilson, where he advances the ball.
Right.
He'll get rushing stats for that. 0 carries for 23 yards, advancing the ball. They call it implied possession. And then because a Winnipeg player touched it in between, Calgary is able to advance and recover it.
Hey, look, a block call against Calgary on that return. So the first down carry goes to Torrey Harrison. He's thrown back. Maybe a gain of 2 on the play.
Well, this Winnipeg defensive front is going to have to step up in a big way here in the second half if they're going to try and fight their way back into this one.
And so many Winnipeg wins in the 7-game streak have been highlighted by big defensive performances. Of course, Winnipeg leads the league with 4 defensive touchdowns.
And all those interceptions that Winnipeg has had during this streak, those don't happen without the guys up front getting some pressure, forcing quarterbacks into errant throws. Just Bo Levi Mitchell's got a little higher threshold before he's going to be forced into mistakes.
Mitchell throws underneath for Harrison to be short of the Calgary first down. The turnovers have been such a factor for the Bombers. They have the best turnover ratio in the league, plus 25. The next best team in the league coming in, Calgary, at plus 15. And that is an enormous indicator of success. In the Canadian Football League over the last 12 years, 50 teams have been in the plus in the turnover ratio. All but 2 made the playoffs. One that didn't was Winnipeg back in 09.
Yeah, it's remarkable even when you look at a game-by-game basis. winner of the turnover battle. I mean, that's the best way statistically to predict the outcome of a game.
Kevin Fogg on the punt return, strings it out, gets around the corner. Fogg up the sideline, gives Winnipeg some good field position up to the Calgary 52-yard line. The return is 16 yards. Matt Nichols, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, in a stadium that's been tough on his franchise, trying to battle back against the Stampeders. That's a TSN. Winnipeg has its best field position for a drive start here this afternoon at the Calgary 52-yard line. Here comes the rush. Nichols screens it off. And big room to run now for Flanders. Timothy Flanders inside the 35, steps out of bounds at the 34-yard line and picks up 18 yards.
Well, again, the right call at the right time. Calgary sends a little bit of pressure here. Watch the execution of the screen as you'll see the Stampeder rushers get sucked in here. Nichols waits, draws 3 or 4 of them in close, and then just drops it nicely over their heads to Flanders for a nice Winnipeg gain.
First down, Bombers from the Calgary 34. Nichols, pump fake, swings it out for Flanders. Looking one-on-one against Tommy Campbell, and Campbell limits the gain to 4. Paul LaPolice back with the Bombers as their offensive coordinator, associate head coach.
And he and Matt Nichols have largely been on the same page. We talked to Matt a little bit about that yesterday. And he was saying how in the past with offensive coordinators, you get the game plan, you kind of go through and eliminate some of the plays you don't like. He said that he and Lapo have largely been on the same wavelength here.
On second down, Nichols complete to Rory Kohler, pushed out of bounds at the 21-yard line, but good for a first down, a gain of 9.
And basically during this streak, the things that Paul LaPolice has been asking his quarterback to do have been things that Matt Nichols has been very comfortable doing, and you kind of see that in the fact that he's played within himself. He hasn't been in situations where you get the sense as a quarterback that he's trying to force plays or that he's trying to stretch beyond his comfort zone.
From the 21, Nichols has all day finally flushed out and just throws that away over the head of Ryan Smith. Just nothing downfield for Nichols to see, and brings up second down.
Yeah, and this has been the issue a few times where he's had time, he's been afforded the protection, but nothing has come open. And finally here, understanding he's got to protect the field position, Matt Nichols makes a good decision just to throw this one away and avoid the sack.
Second and long. Nichols fires right down to the 5-yard line. And the catch made by Clarence Denmark, a first down. As he gets down to the 6, and the gain is 14 yards.
Clarence Denmark, the number 2 receiver here, going to work towards the middle of the field. Find himself a little bit of open space underneath.
Winnipeg inside the 20-yard line for the first time this afternoon. First and goal from the 6. Play fake to Flanders. Pump fake now. Nichols swings it up to Dressler. Dives. Did he get there? Yes. Touchdown, Winnipeg. Weston Dressler dives and gets a 7-yard touchdown, and the Bombers creep closer now. The question is, you're down by 17 points. Do you go for 2?
Yeah, at this point, I'm not thinking necessarily in terms of going for 2. If I'm Winnipeg, as you see Matt Nichols again, with a little bit of time, I thought he might tuck that one and run, but finally found Weston Dressler over along that sideline.
All scoring plays are automatically reviewed, so this will be looked at by the CFL Command Center. And the touchdown is good.
Well, and the Bombers take a page from the Stampeders book. They get their best drive starting field position of the day. A whole lot easier to score when you're starting at center than when you're starting inside your own 5-yard line.
Now, did Dave Dickinson throw the challenge flag here? Challenge flag has been tossed here.
Calgary is challenging that there was illegal interference blocking on a forward pass on the previous scoring play. We'll review the play.
All right, so the command center will review. And the challenge by Dave Dickinson. Hasn't been his thing so far. We'll see if he gets one when we come back. So Calgary challenges the touchdown reception by Weston Dressler, saying there was illegal blocking downfield.
Yeah, suggesting that a Winnipeg player was blocking for Dressler before the pass was thrown. If that's the case, I suspect they may have been looking at Julian Fioligudino, who is the slot to that side of the field.
Dave Dickinson is 0 for 8 on challenges so far this year. The one thing that hasn't gone right for him so far this year.
I'm sure he'll be happy to continue trading lost challenges for much bigger victories.
Here's the call.
After review, we have illegal interference, blocking downfield, Winnipeg, number 83. It's a 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
All right, so it is a penalty against the Bombers that negates the touchdown and moves them back.
So here's the slot, Julian Fioligudino. You're going to see him head into the end zone to stalk his man in the end zone. You notice how this play to Dressler takes a little longer to develop, and to Fioligudino's defense, his back is to the ball, and he's kind of going based on timing. When he expects that ball to be thrown and caught, it takes a little longer, and as a result, the block comes too soon.
First and goal now from the 17. Nichols swings it up for Flanders. Timothy Flanders gets down to the 10-yard line, tripped up there by Charleston Hughes. So the gain is 7. Now second and goal from the 10-yard line.
You see the versatility of Charleston Hughes, a guy who's carved out his reputation in this league primarily as a pass rusher, but as the trend for so many teams has been towards that versatility, interchangeability, guys are being asked to drop in coverage more.
Nichols fires to the goal line. Touchdown! Clarence Denmark picks it up off the turf. And this one will count for Winnipeg, as Clarence Denmark has his 5th touchdown reception of the season.
Yeah, this is a great effort by Denmark to lay out, get his hands underneath this one and keep it up off the turf. Matt Nichols gets it low and outside where only his guy has a shot at it.
What a catch. Took the call on the beach in Florida from the Bombers who had cut him.
Good job. Great job.
All right, so you're back now. You've got the touchdown, and Winnipeg will attempt the single point after. This to draw them within 16 points. So the best field position for a drive start for Winnipeg results in an 8-play touchdown drive that goes 52 yards, and Clarence Denmark, in his 6th year, has the touchdown catch.
Yeah, and you'll see little stem inside, and then the break, he's got that outside leverage on his man, but he's very aware of the fact you see him kind of control it and keep that one arm up off the turf with the ball as he goes down, rolling his body to make sure that ball's not going to hit the turf. Great concentration, great body control, and a great effort, of course, by Clarence Denmark. And, you know, that drive to me looked a little bit more like the Bombers of the 7-game winning streak, and even just to have the touchdown called back and not be affected by the adversity of that, not to implode or all of a sudden go into panic mode. They just took it in stride, went back out, come up with a successful finish nonetheless. So maybe a bit of an indication that, you know, they're playing a very good football team here, but the fact is all the lessons learned over the last 7 games haven't been forgotten all of a sudden by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
They took Toronto apart in the second half, or the 4th quarter last week, 17-0 to come back and win that football game. Finch from inside his end zone gets free across the 30. Finch still going down to the 43-yard line. Boy, Roy Finch has been a big part of the great field position for Calgary, a 48-yard return. Back to Farhan Lalji.
Guys, keep an eye on Marquay McDaniel. This is his first series of this half. Didn't play in the Stamps opening series. He came out at halftime with a calf cramp. They stretched it, rolled it out. At one point, the Stampeders said his return was doubtful, but he's in the huddle right now. Let's see how fast he can be with that injury and if Bo Levi Mitchell continues to look for him on second down.
5 catches for 87 yards for McDaniel this afternoon. All 5 catches on second down.
Now over 30 second down conversion catches for McDaniel this season, leading the Stamps by far in that department.
5-man rush. And Mitchell throws. Did he get it? Marquay McDaniel reaches out with one hand, makes the catch inside the Winnipeg 50-yard line. The official just looked down at him and said, keep going, you got it.
Well, this was a ball that I thought was going to Anthony Parker.
Wow.
The ruling on the field is a completed catch. First down.
Wow, it doesn't get much closer than this,
well,
but
Michael
it looks
Shane's
like it's his hand.
now.
We'll see if it's his hand that's underneath it that tips it up. Don't know if any part of the ball hit the turf there or not. This might be our best look at it.
So Michael O'Shea had a look on the tablet. He has not thrown the challenge flag yet. There's an injured Calgary Stampeders. McDaniel, you're far on talk about it. Over 100 yards receiving for McDaniel on the afternoon.
Yeah, averaging now 100 yards a game against Winnipeg in 3 matchups.
He had 14 for 196 and 2 touchdowns in the first 2 meetings.
We'll see if we can zoom in on this one. Right there, see, it looks to me like that left tip of the ball, to me, looks like it's touching the turf.
And Michael O'Shea is going to challenge this. He's just thrown the challenge flag. It's a big play. It's an 18-yard gain if it stands. The official just looked down at McDaniel, kind of looked like, yes, you caught it. You can run.
Yeah. Yeah, a great effort either
Winnipeg
way.
is challenging the ruling of a completed pass on the previous play. We'll review the play.
So McDaniel getting some Pedialyte or whatever that mixture is. It's a great effort regardless of whether or not it stands. And here's the call.
After review, the ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. Second down.
So a successful challenge both ways. One by Calgary, one by Winnipeg. No catch by McDaniel.
And as much as we'd like to see that one remain in the highlight reel, this is the right call. It looked like the tip of the ball did touch down just beyond the position of his hand.
McDaniel's watching it on the big screen.
There's one frozen frame where we had it in the blown up replay to me where it seemed you could see the tip of the ball touching the turf.
Calgary is challenging that there was illegal contact on their player number 89. We'll review the play.
So during that time, Calgary had a chance to watch it. They think there was interference on Tavares Daniels. This will be Calgary's second challenge. If it's unsuccessful, the Stamps are out of challenges for the game. Okay.
The flag game begins.
So now, if Calgary's successful, can Winnipeg find something to challenge?
Undisputable evidence to overturn it, and it wasn't.
So was there pass interference or contact on Tavares Daniels? There's some contact to be sure. It's on the other side of the field.
So line of scrimmage for the play was the 43-yard line. Daniels is coming, the front man in that stack on the left side. There was contact more than 5 yards.
All right. Back-to-back challenges here. What's the call? It's a long delay here.
After review, we have illegal contact, Winnipeg. 10-yard penalty, first down, Calgary.
So Calgary's been successful on 2 challenges, has another one now remaining, and the net result of that is first down Stampeders at the Calgary 53. I see your challenge and raise you a challenge.
Well, and I'm sure this will be a big discussion in the offseason as the illegal contact away from the play and the ability to challenge that aspect.
Mitchell swings it up to Messam, who reverses his tracks. Still going, and Messam loses a yard in the play as he's finally tripped up by Shayon Green. And Khalil Bass comes in to help out as well. So it brings up a 2nd and long for Calgary, and lost in all those challenges. The significance of this possession for Calgary and the defensive stand for Winnipeg.
Yeah, Winnipeg trying to keep a little bit of momentum here, having just scored a major.
Need their defense to stand up here. Now 2nd and 11 for the Stampeders. 4-man rush. Mitchell rolling, looking, trying to find someone directing traffic. Mitchell with a flag down, throws all the way across, and the pass is incomplete. He was looking there for Kamar Jordan, but the pass is knocked away by Tony Burnett, and the flag was down in the Calgary offensive backfield. It's against the Stampeders.
Illegal block, Calgary number 34. The penalties decline, 3rd down.
So Torrey Harrison called for the illegal block, and Rob Maver and the punting unit will come on for the Stampeders. So there's your stop eventually.
Keep an eye right on that very right edge of your screen. You can see Jake Thomas over there. Torrey Harrison's going to appear in the picture. Catches him on the back side of his shoulder.
TJ Keith is back. The punt goes to the other side. A 43-yard kick taken by Fogg, who tiptoes up the sidelines and goes out of bounds at the Winnipeg 27-yard line. A 12-yard return. So with 1:30 to go in the 3rd quarter, Matt Nichols and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have a chance to chip away at this 16-point Calgary lead.
An opportunity if they can put together what would have to be their best drive of the ball game. With a 2-point convert, could turn this into a 1-possession football game, which I don't think anyone saw coming based on how the first half of this ball game unfolded.
They had 18 net yards in the 1st quarter. On 1st down, Nichols fires. The pass is caught by Fiolo Godino. A 1st down to the 42-yard line. And a gain of 15 yards.
Nichols gets good protection right here from his offensive line that allows him to step up into that throw. Deliver a dart to Fiolo Godino for the 1st down.
Under a minute remaining now in the 3rd quarter. Nichols looks over the top for Ryan Smith, and the pass is simultaneously caught. Smith and Tommy Campbell. Smith comes up with the ball. A simultaneous catch goes to the offensive player. And Ryan Smith appears to come up with it for a gain of 39 yards down to the Calgary 28-yard line.
And a great effort by both of these guys as the ball is in the air. Tommy Campbell coming from behind, going up over top of Ryan Smith to get his hands on it, but great concentration by the Bomber receiver.
Back to the ground of Flanders, who's cut down there by Brandon Smith. It's a gain of 5 on the play.
Ryan Smith listed at 5'7" versus Tommy Campbell listed at 6'3", a difference of 8 inches.
That ball might have changed hands a couple of times. They rolled it along the turf.
Nice job on a jump ball against a much bigger man there by Ryan Smith.
2nd and 5. Nichols fires underneath. Denmark the catch, dives ahead and into the 18-yard line. He'll be close to it on what should be the final play of the 3rd quarter. It is. Denmark appears to be just short, so a decision coming up for Michael O'Shea and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They've won 7 in a row. Calgary's won 9 straight. One of the streaks ends this afternoon as we head to the 4th quarter. Here are the numbers through 3 quarters of play, and just 53 net yards for Calgary in that 3rd quarter as Winnipeg does what Ottawa did last week, makes it a closer game here in the 2nd half as the Winnipeg offense comes to life thanks to the better field position.
Yeah, and you know, from a Calgary perspective, at 10-1-1, you don't necessarily have a whole lot of concerns. But if there is one for Dave Dickenson and the Calgary Stampeders right now, it's this trend that's developed over the last couple of weeks. Great first half, but that 3rd quarter lull that lets the other team back into it. Now, last week, obviously, they showed an ability to finish in the 4th quarter. We'll see if they can deliver that again. But you never want to give a team, when you've got them down, you've got that guy down, you never want to let him back up.
So the 4th quarter opens with a 3rd and a long yard gamble by the Bombers. Empty backfield. And Nichols dives ahead, he's got it. Weston Dressler actually moved into the backfield the last moment. But Nichols dives ahead, moves the sticks. The drive continues for the Bombers.
Well, Matt Nichols had a quarterback sneak last week against the Toronto Argonauts that he took for about 9 yards. It looked for a second like this one might open up the same way.
Into the red zone again. 1st down from the Calgary 16. Nichols fires, caught by Denmark inside the 10 for a gain of 8.
Clarence Denmark, the inside man in this set. He's going to push downfield to hook it up. Let Matt Nichols get that ball out of his hand quickly. He's got about a 5-yard cushion there from the halfback.
He'd catch the game for Denmark. 31 for a touchdown. 2nd and short. The give to Flanders, bounces outside, puts his head down, a 1st down and more, dives to the end zone, and goes out of bounds at the 1. Gain is 8 of the play. 1st and goal Bombers from the Calgary 1-yard line.
Well, much like his first half touchdown, watch the lateral cut here by Timothy Flanders. Traffic on the inside, quick bounce, and turns that into a positive play.
8 carries for 81 yards for Timothy Flanders so far. And so now Winnipeg with a chance. The draw still closer here in the 2nd half. Touchdown! Matt Nichols takes it in, and now some ill will breaks out between Calgary and Winnipeg. Saw some of this in the 1st half as well. And you're right in the middle of it. So now, Winnipeg draws within 10.
Yeah, so this is the situation where you go for 2, make it a 1-possession game, try and get yourself within 8.
Winnipeg has not used the 2-point conversion much this year, just 2 attempts. Both have been successful. Scrimmage the ball at the 3-yard line. 1 crack for a pair of points. And to make it a 1-possession game that seemed unlikely just an hour ago. Nichols with time, throws to the goal line for Dressler, bat in the air and out of play. As Tommy Campbell swatted that away, so it remains a 10-point Calgary lead. But Matt Nichols brings the Bombers closer as they battle back in the second half. 30-20 is the Calgary lead. Winnipeg's best drive of the game, 8 plays, 83 yards, capped off with a 1-yard touchdown run by Matt Nichols.
Well, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have answered the bell here in the second half.
Some stops in their defense and some big plays on offense, which were noticeably absent in the first half. Winnipeg is 3-22 in Calgary since 1992. A streak that you are part of.
Must be a long streak.
And Finch brought down to the 25-yard line, a 15-yard return. So we have not seen Calgary enjoy the kind of field position that we saw in the first half, where the Stampeders were, on average, starting at their own 50-yard line.
Well, we've seen Winnipeg take a little bit of that field position edge and take advantage of it.
Bo Levi Mitchell, with 10 straight wins, Ken Playne of the Bombers holds the record. He won 12 straight starts. The longest unbeaten streak is Warren Moon, who had 13 starts unbeaten. Mitchell's at 11 straight. First down now for Calgary. Mitchell throws underneath, the pass knocked loose, and a chance now for Winnipeg. Falling on it is Shehan Green. Is that pass complete or not? Play continues and brought to the end zone by Khalil Bass for a touchdown.
Now, I think, first of all, I think this is a good call by the officials to let them play it through, but I think ultimately, I think this is going to be ruled incomplete. So I think it's a wise decision to let them play it through, because if it is a complete pass and a fumble, but you blow the whistle, then it affects the outcome of the play.
Simone Charbonneau-Campo makes the catch. The ball
The
knocked
previous
free.
scoring play is under review by the command center.
So a great play there by Tony Burnett to knock it out. The question is, was it a catch or not? Now, then there's an issue about whether or not it was a forward lateral by Green to Bass. There's a lot of questions to be asked on this one play.
We take a look first.
So Green's not down by contact. Did he advance that forward to Bass?
You know, and I think you make the argument from a Winnipeg perspective that it's a handoff, much like an underneath handoff on a run. You can hand it off to someone in front of you, provided it's a handoff and not a pass.
Now, to you, is that a catch?
Well, let's take a look.
There's a look at the advancement of the ball. That was close. Now, this is not a challenge by either team. All scoring plays are automatically reviewed.
Come on.
It's possible we could have a catch, a fumble.
After review,
there we go.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
There you go. A catch, a fumble. The advancement of the ball was legal. Touchdown for the Bombers. Their league-leading 5th defensive touchdown of the year.
What a remarkable turnaround.
And the first turnover of the game by the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, this was what we said off the bat. It would come down to a Winnipeg defense that wins games with takeaways, a Calgary offense that doesn't turn it over.
And now the point after to bring the Bombers within 3 is good. So just like that, sudden change, Bass with the touchdown. As Shehan Green got the ball to him. It passed through a lot of hands. The Winnipeg's back in it, down by 7. At the time, it was 24-0 in favor of Calgary. Now, a 30-27 game. Bombers within 3, kicking off with 12.5 to go in eternity here in the 4th quarter.
Gotta get this ball back, man.
Winnipeg with all kinds of momentum right now.
Bombers have forced their league-leading 44th turnover. That's 14 more than any other team. And here's Finch from the 5. Leaps ahead and dives up to the 30-yard line. Only brought down by Johnny Adams on the play. And that's where Calgary was scrimmage after the fumble pickup Handoff, you want to call it that, and touchdown to Khalil Bass.
We'll see how the first place Calgary Stampeders handle a little bit of adversity here.
Calgary's average drive start in the first half was its own 50-yard line. Second half, their own 25. Here they'll start from the 30. Mitchell fires it out. And the pass caught by Daniels, but he's wrapped up right away by Winnipeg's Kevin Fogg for a gain of 5. But this game, much like Winnipeg's season, they dropped that game to Calgary. They go to 1-4, look buried, fight back, win 7 in a row. Now they're back at McMahon Stadium, trying to run the streak to 8 and snap Calgary's streak at 9. Here's the give to Messam on first down. He busts free. Jerome Messam into Winnipeg territory, still going, but down the 44-yard line. Finally stopped by Bruce Johnson, but now Corey rumbles for 30 yards.
Jerome Messam very slow to get up, motionless down on the field. After this tremendous run, a couple of great cuts along the way. Remarkable agility for a guy his size.
And his helmet, the back of his helmet slams the turf. And we saw this last night in the Edmonton BC game, late in the game, when Mike Riley was hit pretty hard. There are concussion spotters who keep an eye on things, but now the medical staff attending to Jerome Messam. And as they do that, we'll step away. The CFL and TSN back to Calgary in a moment. Jerome Messam has made his way to the Calgary sideline after that 30-yard run down on the Winnipeg 45-yard line.
And it was right at the tail end of this run as he's brought down by Bruce Johnson. See Messam's head slam off the turf.
Johnson was trying to punch that ball free. But Torrey Harrison comes in a tailback now for the Stampeders. First down at the 45-yard line. Play fake to Harrison. The quick throw, the ball's free. Picked off the turf by Tony Burnett, but they ruled incomplete pass as Kamar Jordan couldn't hang on.
Another quick hit. Jordan coming out of the slot here. Defender Chris Randall arrives with the football, but you see it clearly hits the turf before Burnett scoops it up. Now I will point out, Torrey Harrison can replace Jerome Messam in the lineup without impacting the ratio because the Stampeders play a Canadian heavy. They play with 8 Canadian starters. They only need to have 7.
Now Mitchell with time, throws, and this time the pass is caught by Georgia at the 35-yard line. Coverage there for Bruce Johnson. But enough to move the sticks. A gain of 10 in the Calgary first down.
Well, we've talked about that next man up philosophy for both these teams. Kamar Jordan has personified that today, coming in for Bakari Grant. Grant, who had really started to settle in with this Calgary offense, had been very productive over the last few weeks. He goes down. Kamar Jordan had been sitting for several weeks, but he's come up big for them here today with some catches.
Early movement, flags are down. First down, Calgary, the Winnipeg 33-yard line. 10 to go here in the fourth quarter.
Procedure, Calgary, number 60. 5-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
Shane Bergman back in the Calgary lineup this week after sitting out the game against Ottawa last week. So now, Calgary moved back to the 38-yard line, 1st and 15. Mitchell swings it out to Jordan. Gets wrapped up right away on the play by Maurice Leggett. They'll mark him down at the 36-yard line. So a gain of a couple will be 2nd and 13 now for the Stampeders. up by 3.
A costly penalty for the Stampeders on this drive after that Messam run seemed to take a little bit of the heat off for Calgary. But right back in a hole here with Winnipeg looking for a big stop defensively.
On 2nd and long, Mitchell looking over the top for Jordan, incomplete. Johnson was there on the coverage. He had a step, and Mitchell couldn't get to the ball.
Yeah, inside position. He had a lane down the middle. Saw Bo Levi Mitchell's reaction. Kind of said it all. Going to see him work. He's going to get inside on the halfback, Bruce Johnson.
Didn't look like Mitchell liked the route. Wants to have a word to the sideline. So now, René Paredes with a 42-yard field goal attempt.
And Mitchell wanted him to keep that one a little bit more vertical. A little bit less of an angle on that cut.
Paredes is 38 of his last 39. Hits the upright. They get nothing. Nothing going right for Calgary here in the second half after everything went the Stampeders' way in the first. Paredes battling a bit of a bad leg. Hasn't been kicking off here in the later stages of the game, and right off the upright.
And the door now wide open.
Yeah, the Bombers will take over
Blue Bombers
at their own 25-yard line. You talk about drive position for Calgary. How about Winnipeg? First half on average, they started their own 31-yard line. Second half, starting around the 40. So better field position and better results.
Say it every week. It is a game of field position.
Third down for the 25. Here's Flanders. It's a gain of 3 on the play. Garrett Davis there to help make the stop. Actually marked as a gain of 4. 2nd and 6 now coming up for the Bombers. All La Police going through the play chart.
Big second down for Coach Lapo and his offense here.
Nichols fires, and the pass is complete right at the marker and caught by Flanders. And he picks up 7 on the play, a first down to the 36-yard line.
Well, Flanders, the running back, lines up in the slot here. He's just going to run that quick out right at the marker. Double outs on that side.
Flanders 121 yards from scrimmage so far this afternoon. Now the play fake. Nichols under pressure, and he's brought down. Sacked by Alex Singleton. And he might actually have gotten back the line of scrimmage or a little further, so it won't be a sack on the play. He gets a yard, 2nd and 9.
Alex Singleton times this one up pretty well. With the snap creeping up on the line of scrimmage. Little stutter step around the tackle. Jamarcus Hardrick gets the job done.
2nd and 9, Winnipeg. Nichols has time, throws, almost intercepted by Brandon Smith. Weston Dressler was the intended target.
And Brandon Smith was handcuffed. He was surprised that that ball got through to him. Smith will come from bottom left corner of your screen.
And now a challenge flag being thrown by O'Shea.
Wondering if the defender on the intended receiver was in a little bit early there with contact.
Second challenge by the Bombers. Fourth challenge of the game, all here in the second half.
Winnipeg is challenging that there was pass interference on their number 7. We'll review the play.
So the target was Dressler. O'Shea saying there was pass interference. It's a 2nd and 9 play from the 37-yard line.
Watch for Dressler across the middle.
So the question is, did Joe Burnett have his hand on Dressler 5 yards up the field?
See as they come in from the left side of the screen. That angle kind of catches the tail end of it. It looked from that old 24 like he might have, with his right hand, kind of controlled the receiver a little bit, but
here's the call.
That's deemed conclusive.
After review, we have pass interference, Calgary, number 24. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
So there's a first down to sustain the drive for Winnipeg. All 4 challenges in the game have been successful. So both Winnipeg and Calgary have a challenge remaining.
Can't help thinking that that won't play out somehow down the stretch of this ball game.
Yeah. So first down Winnipeg from its own 47-yard line. Give to Flanders. Gain of 3 on the play, gets out to about the 50. Stopped there by Calgary's Duron Mayo.
This will set up another
2nd and long.
Yeah, critical 2nd and long. Not the situation offensively that you want to be in, but the Bombers here in the second half keep managing to find a way.
By the way, not much wind, and Medlock has kicked the longest field goal in the league this year. Nichols flushed out. Now throws, and the pass is incomplete. Brandon Smith almost got his hands on that. It'll bring up 3rd and long now for the Bombers. So Medlock will have to punt with 5:39 to go in the 4th quarter.
Well, nice job by the guys on the back end here for the Stamps. Allow the boys up front to eventually get there. It's just a 4-man rush.
Looking for Clarence Denmark on the play. Medlock, end-over-end kick taken by Finch at the 20-yard line. And Finch out to the 30, a 40-yard kick, a 10-yard return, and Calgary has the ball back. A 3-point lead for the Stampeders, and the ball now at their own 30-yard line. Dave Dickinson's Calgary Stampeders, winners of 9 straight, unbeaten in 11. Clinched a playoff spot last week with their win over Ottawa.
We'll see if, with Jerome Messam on the sidelines, it's Torrey Harrison. See if the Stamps go to the ground and pound game here a bit.
They give to Harrison. It's to the 30-yard line, which is the line of scrimmage. No gain. 2nd and 10 now for Calgary. Under 5 to go here. Jerome Messam is in the Calgary locker room after being thrown down hard earlier in this 4th quarter. Still to come tonight, Hamilton and Saskatchewan. As Calgary closes out its divisional schedule this afternoon, the 5 games for the Stampeders remaining, all against the East Division. On 2nd down, Mitchell trying to find someone open for Jordan, makes the catch at the 40-yard line, right at the first down marker. He was clapping his hands, trying to get the quarterback's attention.
Yeah, spot's going to leave him a little bit short.
Yeah, they're going to drop him at the 39-yard line. So this is 3rd and a half a yard for the Stampeders.
And once he started to get on the move to his left, it would have been hard for Bo Levi Mitchell to redirect, but he might have had a shot back to the other side to Markway McDaniel.
So the short yardage team comes on now for the Stampeders. Andrew Buckley in a quarterback. Lost his footing. Did he get there? Maybe on the 2nd effort he did, but initially Buckley stumbled.
Yeah, it looked like he got tripped up trying to pull away from the center.
They've spotted him right across the 40-yard line. This is going to be very close, but Calgary should have it. So let's have a look here.
Right there you see that stumble.
Mark him down just across the 40. And he just got it by the stripe of the football. So a sigh of relief for the Stampeders now, and a fresh set of downs just across their own 40.
I mean, if you don't make that when you're handing the ball back well within Justin Medlock's field goal range.
Right.
For a game-tying attempt. Stamps will just look to keep the clock running here, keep the ball in bounds.
High snap, Mitchell brings it down, throws over the top, and he's got Jordan down to the 51-yard line. And Kamar Jordan has become an emerging part of the Calgary attack. 7th catch of the afternoon.
Well, it seems a little bit in the second half of this ball game, as Farhan Lalji told us earlier, Marquay McDaniel's been battling calf cramps that I think have affected his role within the game plan. Here you'll see Kamar Jordan picking up the slack.
Bo Levi Mitchell over 300 yards passing here this afternoon for the 11th time this year. So Calgary with a first down, the lead, and 3 to go here in the 4th quarter. Calgary here, Reddy Paredes being worked on by the athletic therapy staff on the sidelines in case he's needed. His last attempt hit the upright. He has not been kicking off here in the second half. Farhan Lalji reporting he's been struggling with a muscle tweak. So how far does Calgary have to get for a field goal try? Start now, 1st and 10 from the Winnipeg 51. Mitchell looks over the top, has a man, and Daniels can't hang on. Tavares Daniels, the intended target, couldn't quite squeeze it. Maurice Leggett was there on the coverage, brings up 2nd down.
Yeah, Daniels down that sideline had to slow up a little bit. The ball was just a little bit underthrown for him to catch it in stride, so he has to hold up a little bit. That allows Mo Leggett to recover and close right there.
So 2nd and 10 now for Calgary for the Winnipeg 51-yard line. Here comes the blitz. Mitchell stands in and throws, caught for a first down once again. It is Jordan. Kamar Jordan has emerged as an enormous factor here in the second half. Over 100 yards receiving, an 8th catch, a first down to the 31.
Yeah, terrific performance by Kamar Jordan. Really the only guy catching balls here in the second half, it seems, for the Calgary Stampeders. A couple of clutch receptions on this drive.
2.5 to go, and the clock running here in the 4th quarter. Back to the ground to Harrison. And Torrey Harrison wrapped up. Another big defensive play by Maurice Leggett, who is, you would have to think, the leading candidate to be the CFL's most outstanding defensive player.
Yeah, and a lot of people may think that that's only because of the interceptions, but as you see, this is a guy who's all over the field. I mean, we saw him make the play on Daniels down the sideline in coverage. Now here he is a minute later, making a huge play, stopping the run. Coming from the backside.
Another 2nd long play for Calgary. 7th play of this drive. Under 2 to go in the 4th quarter. Mitchell flushed out of the pocket, throws towards the sidelines, incomplete. He was trying to find Parker there. He was being covered by Bruce Johnson, so now it's a 3rd down. Paredes, who hit the upright in his last attempt, will come on and try a 37-yarder.
Well, we haven't seen a lot of pressure. Winnipeg pass rushers on Bo Levi Mitchell, but they had some here to force him out of the pocket and out of rhythm. He's just got to throw it away.
Paredes missed from 42 earlier. Hit the upright. Now a try from just outside the 37 to give Calgary a 6-point lead. And this time he puts it through with ease. So Paredes guts it out. And now Calgary extends the lead to 6 points with 1:44 to go in the fourth quarter.
Guy who's delivered big kicks throughout his career. Paredes.
So now with the rule change, Calgary must kick off after the field goal in the last 3 minutes of the football game. So in for a finish here with Winnipeg riding a 7-game winning streak, Calgary riding a 9-game string.
And Stampeders with that field goal up the pressure. Taking away that opportunity for the tying field goal. The Bombers now have to go the distance for a major.
TJ Heath is back, along with Pascal Lochard to receive the kickoff from the 35-yard line. Rob Mazur's kicking it off, the punter. Taken at the 15-yard line by Heath. Finds a seam, moves the other way. He's still going, gets out to the 43-yard line. Mark him down to the 44. And so the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have good field position, but need a touchdown here in the fourth quarter.
A 7-game win streak on the line for Matt Nichols, who endured a difficult first half. But persevered and has his team in position now. They've got an opportunity to win.
Winnipeg has a timeout to call. Also a challenge to use. Both teams have a challenge remaining. On first down, a 3-man rush. Nichols throws. And the pass is caught by Ryan Smith, a gain of 8. Up to the Winnipeg 52-yard line. And the clock will run once the ball is spotted.
Still lots of time. Minute and a half to go.
Nichols throws again, caught again by Smith for a first down in the Calgary territory at the 49.
Well, good high percentage play, balls out on time. Moving the sticks, and you just see how the confidence is turned in this game for the Bombers.
Nichols throws again, a flag comes down. The catch is made by Flanders, but the play was blown dead before the ball was snapped. 1:19 to go.
Procedure. Procedure, Winnipeg, number 66. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Former Stampeder Stanley Bryant is called for illegal procedure. And this will take the Bombers back to the Calgary 54, first and 15. That did, however, stop the clock. Now a draw play to Flanders, has some room. Up the sidelines he goes and bounces out of bounds at the Calgary 47-yard line. Gain of 7 on the play. Brings up 2nd and 8.
A good play call. Good burst there from Flanders. At the same time, good reaction and run support from the safety, Josh Bell, coming downhill to make that tackle.
Again, the clock won't start until the ball is snapped. 2nd and 8 from the 47. Nichols has time, throws, and the pass incomplete for Weston Dressler. It brings up 3rd down. 1:09 to go. And the Bombers will have to gamble on 3rd down.
And Dressler's going to get that outside position on his guy, Brandon Smith. The ball one hops on its way in there.
Here you go, 3rd and 8. Three-man rush. Nichols throws, and the pass is complete to Clarence Denmark. A first down to the 38-yard line of the Stampeders. A dart from Nichols, and another great catch by Clarence Denmark.
I don't know if the coverage from Jamar Wall could have been any better, but a tremendous grab by Clarence Denmark with the defender right on him.
9th catch for Denmark. Under a minute to go now in the fourth quarter. Nichols swings it out for Flanders. And Flanders fights down to the 32-yard line. A gain of 5. And again, Winnipeg can use a timeout at some point. Right now, the clock continues to run. 45 seconds to go in the fourth quarter, 2nd and 5. Nichols throws, caught by Flanders, a first down. Inside the 25, down to the 24. 38 seconds to go. What an efficient drive this has been.
It sure has. Flanders proving to be effective as a receiver. They've lined him up out in the slot a couple times. He's doing a nice job running routes. Catching the ball, big play there.
Clock running up 35 seconds. Nichols fires again, flags are down, pass is caught. Ryan Smith is off and running inside the 10, down to the 5. There are 2 flags in the defensive backfield. 27 seconds remaining. Winnipeg first and goal from the 5, pending the infractions. And all eyes now on referee Dave Foxcroft.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Calgary, number 28. That penalty is declined. First down, Winnipeg.
First and goal now from the 5 with 27 seconds remaining.
Keep an eye on the slot. Saw that contact on Dressler beyond 5 yards.
Winnipeg 2 for 2 in the red zone. This was a 24-0 game an hour and a half ago. The Bombers have climbed all the way back and now have a chance to grab the lead. Nichols has time, throws to the goal line. Touchdown! Makes the touchdown reception, and the Bombers have pulled even with a point after to come.
And how about those Winnipeg Blue Bombers? Viola Godino pressed into action with Andrew Harris out of the lineup. They juggle the ratio and start Viola Godino as a second Canadian receiver.
And now Justin Medlock can give Winnipeg its first lead with 20 seconds to go. The kick is up, and it's good.
Remarkable comeback by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Game that was incredibly one-sided in the first half.
And last week, the Bombers outscored Toronto 17-0 in the fourth quarter to win it. This week, they've outscored Calgary 20-3 in the fourth quarter to grab the lead with 20 seconds remaining.
Little killer instinct in these Bombers.
In a stadium that has been a graveyard for the Bombers for the better part of 2 decades. And now they're that far away from ending Calgary's 9-game winning streak and 11-game unbeaten streak. And leaping over Winnipeg, or BC rather, in the West Division standings.
Seems like the things that have made Winnipeg successful during this 7-game winning streak of theirs, some of those things seem to be forgotten in the first half of this ball game. But I suspect that Mike O'Shea reminded his team a little bit about how they got to this point at halftime, and it's been a whole different story here.
With 4:25 remaining in the third quarter, the score was 30-7 in favor of Calgary.
Unreal.
Medlock kicks it deep. This is Finch from the 10-yard line. And Finch will get out to the 30. 15 seconds remaining. Calgary has a timeout left. A kicker with a questionable leg, but he nailed his last one. So how far do you have to get to give him a shot?
Well, we've seen Paredes hit from 40 plus in the third quarter of this ball game, knowing he was already nursing that bad wheel. But I don't know if it's going to go much beyond 40 or 45 for him here.
Bo Levi Mitchell throws quickly. And the pass is caught by Jordan up to the 43-yard line. But
timeout, Calgary.
The Stamps will use their timeout. The ball at their own 42-yard line with a first down. How many plays can you run and still give your field goal unit a chance? Maybe 2?
A big maybe. A big maybe on 2 to get into that range. We'll see if they try to get it in one chunk here.
5 receivers now. Mitchell stands in and throws, and the pass is caught. Caught by Lamar Durant. What a grab at the 45-yard line. 4 seconds to go. It would be a 52-yard try. Rennie Paredes has not tried a field goal over 50 yards yet this season. Here's one from 52 yards out to win it.
Wow. And you were worried this game might not live up to its advanced billing.
It just took a few minutes. All right, Drew Tate the hold. Paredes from 52. Actually, we'll call it 53. That's where the T is closer to.
Timeout, Winnipeg.
And Winnipeg calls its timeout. Now, don't forget, too, possibility, I suppose, that the ball doesn't get out of the end zone. The single's always a possibility. Maurice Leggett is back to receive for Winnipeg.
Well, Mike O'Shea is a guy who's always been known for being prepared for every situation. And as much as this timeout might seem like it would be about icing the other team's kicker, I think it's more about him making sure his guys understand the situation that you just explained, that it doesn't end if he misses. Your job's not done if he misses the field goal.
From just outside the 52. Paredes with a chance to win it. He's got enough on it. It's good! What a finish! Paredes, a 52-yarder. And the Stamps run their winning streak to 10 in a row. Winnipeg, heartbroken, sees the streak end at 7. What an afternoon here in Calgary.
Well, I'll tell you what, the guys in studio had the debate that's gone on for a couple of days. Does Winnipeg need to win this game to prove something? I think they proved something. I mean, a huge clutch, gut-it-out kind of win for Calgary as well. But I think the Winnipeg Blue Bombers delivered something of a message of their own the way they showed up in the second half of this game.
It was a 30-7 Calgary lead. Winnipeg fought back in the 4th quarter, seized its first lead late, and then watched as Paredes put it through. And don't forget the catch by Lamar Durant that put Calgary in that position.
Let's go out of the circle.
And in the midst of all that, Kamar Jordan, 9 catches for 126 yards, is our Nissan Titan player of the game. Brought to you by the Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the CFL.
Yeah, pressed into action when Bakari Grant got knocked out of the lineup last week. Kamar Jordan making his first start in weeks. Looks like he's been doing this all year long. Became the go-to guy for Bo Levi Mitchell. In the second half of this ball game, Kamar Jordan is the Nissan Titan player of the game.
Calgary now unbeaten in 12 consecutive. 10 straight wins. The first time ever that 2 CFL teams had winning streaks of 7+ games. It lived up to the billing. Here's